Hi there, everyone. So I've got my new bench set up, and I decided to change out an outlet. Had an old two-prong outlet. I put in a three-prong outlet, but the three-prong outlet doesn't have. There wasn't proper grounding wire run there, so it's not grounded yet. I will be doing something about that actually. I'm planning on just coming up because this is a basement here, and I'm just gonna stick my fish tape up through the wall, hook it out up here, and run a single grounding wire and tie it in with the ground over here if there's a ground in there. If there's not a ground in there, well, damn it, I'm gonna find a ground. I got all this, all that's grounded for sure. All that galvanized pipe, not pipe, but ductwork. All that's grounded. So I could ground it to that if I have to. Although I'd rather do something a little better. Um, if worse comes to worse, and I don't, I can just run all the way back to the breaker box and just run a single grounding line all the way back to the breaker box. I'm not sure. I don't see the. Maybe it's up. Nah. Oh no. Doesn't look like it's up there on top of that. Oh no. I don't know where this cord comes in at. Anyway, um, gotta be something over here running to it. But anyway, my plan is to ground that outlet properly. I'm not going to put a GFCI in. I'm just going to leave a regular 3. I've got a good surge protector here. So should be fine. That brings me to the main guy. This is going to be the workhorse of this station here. It's a YiHUA. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced, but YiHUA. Yeah, it's an 853D. Interesting little box. It's got a little power supply in it. Up to 15 volts, up to 2 amps. It's got a little test voltage, so you can check here. You plug in between these two, and it's got a little built-in meter. I'm not going to be using this as a meter. It's got a good USB output, 5-volt USB output, and it's adjustable here. You can go up to 15 volts and down to nothing. The resolution isn't the greatest. It's not a very smooth. So I don't know how much I would trust this for putting out like really accurate voltage. Let's see if we can get 3.3. Like there. I'll check that with my meter actually. Let's see here. This is a pretty good meter. This is by Klein. I know it's not. There we go. Look at that. So let's see here. Let's plug one in there. Grab the other, doing this one-handed. Put the other one in there. Uh-oh. Oh. Gotta be set. Push select there. Wondering. Okay, so 3.407. 3.38. Or 3.338, 3.339. That's not too far off. Let's see if we can get it closer. 2.81 or 0.281, 0.3. That's not bad right there. This is definitely one of those things where I would want to check it first before I trust it. The 5 volts, the USB here seems to be just fine, and it might just run most of my stuff off that. But it seems to be just fine. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Not a bad machine as far as I can tell. I mean, it's definitely on the cheaper side. I didn't get the one of the $350 or $400 ones that this brand makes, so I got this cheaper one. The soldering iron heats up pretty quickly. It's got a thermocouple in it, and so it's this nice multi-pin jack here. So let's see here. Yeah, it's heating up. Now, the temperature it shows here is just what the element is set to. The tip will be a couple of degrees cooler. So, if you want 540, you set it for like 545 or something. Come on. Focus. There we go. It's not a bad soldering iron that came with it. Again, this is a YiHUA 907L that came with this. Don't know anything about that. Don't know anything. I'm usually I'm using different, like Weber or whatever. Not Weber. Whatever. I haven't used a brand of soldering iron in a long time. Actually, my last soldering iron came from the dollar store, and it worked. It worked just fine. It wasn't adjustable, and so we've got, let's see here, S108G, whatever that means. So this is kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and turn this soldering iron side off. Turn that off. Okay, so the blow dryer here has a really interesting little feature here. It's got a manual option where you turn it on, you set your air. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that, but you can set it, and then you set your temperature up here. Your soldering iron temperature changes are here. This guy, your temperature changes are here. Anyway, if you turn that off, turn it to auto, and go, it'll run till it cools off. Then, this is kind of neat. You just pick it up, and it'll run. It's got a magnet in here, on both sides, and it's got a little magnetic switch in here, and it doesn't turn off as soon as you put it back in. Comes up to temperature, very quickly comes up to temperature, and then when you put it in, it turns off the heat, coasts down. I like it. I like that feature. Soldering iron came with a few little things. Came with some solder. This is some leftover from an emergency job I had to do. I had to go to the hardware store to get that. Came with a little bit of solder. The finest quality solder. YH. Maybe that's a YiHUA brand. let's see, YH lead-free solder. Let's see, SN 99.3, copper content 0.7. Okay. You know, 0.3 to 1 millimeter. What? Can't be 0.3 to 1 millimeter. It was just poorly made. Anyway, yeah, that's the solder that came with it. I'm guessing that it's a flex cord solder. Here's the tips. It came with the soldering iron, and you can get these tips pretty cheap, and they work just fine. Sometimes you gotta sand them a little bit to make them, you know, the profile you want or whatever, but to clean them. But this type of tip works just fine. I actually, you know, I like these smaller replaceable tips versus the really big, super expensive ones. Came with a little bit of solder wick. You know, that's okay. You know, it's not. I wasn't expecting to get a bunch of consumables with this thing. You know, no. The tips are nice. It is nice that it came with tips. Probably gonna get some better quality tips, but it's nice that it came with tips. This is nice too. Came with all of these little nozzle profiles, different sizes. There's a square one. All these little nozzle profiles. Leaving them in the bag until I need them. Little tiny one. Anyway, nice for going over the end of this sucker here. It's a little warm, but it's not like super hot. Yeah. It seems to be a pretty good station. According to the label on the back, let's turn it around. Take a look at the label on the back. Here we go. Maximum power is 800 watts, so that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. 800 watts. That's a lot for this thing. It's got a fan in it, and the fan seems to only turn on when the sucker starts getting warm inside, so it automatically kicks on. And that's fine with me. And it's nice and cool in this basement all the time, so I don't think this is going to have any trouble with cooling. It'll stay nice and comfortable. This box will. Yeah. Yeah, it's neat. I don't have a lot of details on it. I don't know. ESD safe. It's probably none of this is ESD safe right now because it's not grounded. It's just got a hot and a neutral. So I'm definitely going to be putting some ground in here before I go much further. I might just run a little ground wire out the bottom, drill a hole in the concrete right there. Put a hole in the concrete and shove a little copper stake down, a little copper grounding rod. Yep. Next on the come on. There we go. Next on the list is going to be putting shelves up here, and so I'll be back when I start getting those together. Might actually video the construction of those.